This is the public record, what Parliament says, and what the numbers actually show. On the 1st of June 2026, Parliament held a debate in Westminster Hall on child exploitation data. This debate did not happen because the government chose to hold it. It happened because 260,974 British people signed a petition demanding it. That is the threshold required to force a parliamentary debate. They reached it. Rupert Lowe, the MP for Great Yarmouth, stood up and read directly from testimonies collected during an independent inquiry his team conducted. What follows contains deeply distressing accounts of serious crimes against children. Viewer discretion is advised. Here is what was said in Parliament, on the record.
A pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. Firstly, I would like to thank the 260,974 British men and women who signed the petition to make this debate possible, and I want to welcome these brave survivors who are sitting behind us in the hall. This debate is about them. As you quite rightly say, it's not about politics. I want the world to hear what we heard during the 2 weeks of our independent rape gang inquiry hearings, an inquiry that should never have needed to happen. I sincerely urge this Parliament to listen to the testimonies from these brave survivors and to act, to finally act. So the first testimony: he took his pants down, penetrated me, had sex with me. He then stopped before ejaculation. He picked up the bottle of Jack Daniels, which was now empty, and he forced it up inside me. He broke the glass while he was there. At that point, I was about 12, nearly 13. Another testimony: I was held down by the men as they each took turns to orally and vaginally rape me, taking it in turns to pin down my arms and my legs. When the assault ended, the men hit me repeatedly, threatened to find me, kill me, and harmed my loved ones if I ever told anybody what had happened. Another: comments were constantly made suggesting that white girls, the Christian girls, were viewed as having fewer morals or lower values, whereas Muslim girls were described by some of the men as having dignity and higher moral standing. These comparisons were used to justify the way I was treated and to further humiliate and control me. Another: she was a white woman herself, who I imagine may have been groomed, and has obviously now married into the family, shouting obscenities at us. Throughout the whole sentencing, she was constantly saying, "Fucking liars, lying white bitches." She said to me that God will be the witness for what happens to me. Another: race did play a part and motivated the selection or demographic of the victims. Throughout my exploitation, the other girls I encountered or who were abused alongside me were almost exclusively white. Another: she had a baby by him, and his dad was an imam. His dad knew, and he got his son married and said that he wasn't allowed to see the child. They look after their own community. Another: over the course of the abuse, I was raped by multiple police officers in different parts of the country. Another: he put a cigarette out on the baby's face. Another: it started when I was 13. I was raped by probably about 600 or 700 different men over 3 years. Another: they would toot the horn of the car, and then a child would be taken to the front door by a staff member of the children's home. Another: I was bleeding from both my vagina and my back passage and was so swollen I could not sit down. I told hospital staff my drink had been spiked and I did not know what had happened because I was too afraid to tell the truth. They did not ask any questions. They gave me tablets and discharged me. I was 15 years old. Another: things would escalate around Eid and holidays. Parties got bigger, got worse, got more violent. More people involved, more girls involved. The parties were just bigger. Another: the main clash that I kind of had with the religion side of it was I grew up as a Christian. I would wear my cross because it was something really special to me. It was just used as a way to break me down. They said, "Where is your God now? Has your God forsaken you?" Another, it was all of the white girls in every home that I went to. I remember a man opening the back of a van and I saw 15, 20 girls locked in dog cages. Another, dogs were brought in and I couldn't move at all. I had nowhere to move. I think that was the scariest thing, was not having any concept of it. There were men around me, not horrified, not disgusted, not helping, but filming and laughing, making bets on whether the dog could actually rape me or not. And yes, I was raped by a dog. The man just held my face, stared me down straight in the eyes, and he wanted to see me break, and he did. Another, I just want it to stop and not happen to any other children, and for people to actually act, to do something and stop being so scared. I could continue for hours and hours. All of us in this building have a responsibility to finally act. Not to talk, but to act. Our Rape Gang Inquiry report will be released in the coming days. It will change Britain for good. Thank you.
Rupert Lowe told Parliament he could continue for hours. The testimonies he read were collected during an independent inquiry, an inquiry he said should never have needed to happen. Today's debate was specifically about data. Whether the government should be required to collect and publish data on organised child sexual exploitation, including the ethnicity and background of perpetrators. The government's position has been that such data either does not exist in a usable form, or that publishing it risks inflaming community tensions. Rupert Lowe's position is that without the data, the full scale of what happened cannot be properly understood. And without understanding the full scale, it cannot be properly addressed. 260,974 people agreed with him enough to sign their name to it. Here is what the data that does exist shows. The independent inquiry into child abuse, which reported in October 2022, found that there is no reliable national data on the backgrounds of perpetrators of group-based local authorities, police forces and other agencies record this information inconsistently, or not at all. The inquiry's final report made 120 recommendations. As of today's debate, the majority of those recommendations had not been implemented. The petition that forced today's debate called specifically for the collection and publication of this data going forward. Parliament has now heard the case for why that matters. The question is what it does next. 260,974 people signed a petition. Parliament debated it today. Rupert Lowe read what survivors told his independent inquiry. The independent inquiry into child sexual abuse made 120 recommendations in 2022. The majority have not been implemented. There is no reliable national data on the backgrounds of those responsible for organised child sexual exploitation in the UK. The petition asked Parliament to change that. Parliament has heard the argument. What happens next is a matter of public record. This is the public record. New analysis every week, what Parliament says and what the numbers actually show. Subscribe if you want the full picture.